Remember, the safe word is ripoff. Rob1n or Robin was written and directed by Lawrence Fowler, who did a bunch of horror schlocks such as the Jack in the Box movies. Yes, there's more than one of those. And something that I forgot I reviewed until I checked his IMDb page, The Ghost Within, that had to do with the grandfather clock and was terrible. Absolutely the fucking shits. And so's Robin. If you basically just want to take Megan, but give it a micro budget, Child's Play, but not even any of the humor, and a bunch of other stuff, and just have it be this horror schlock ripoff with some people that certainly try to make this meager amount of material stretched out and work for 90 fucking minutes. This is abysmal. This is the bottom of the barrel horror slop, and I still don't know if it's even going to make my worst horror list of 2025 because, dear God, I have seen a lot of shit. Why did I decide to watch this? Well, I'm trying to get to 338 movies for 2025. This is 305, and yeah, this deserves to be put on a Miami beach and then buried and then possibly beaten with a stick until it stops moving. What I'm trying to say is Robin isn't very good. Do you understand that? It isn't very fucking good. Unfortunately, it's also one of the few free movies on Amazon that I actually felt like clicking on. Basically, you have a robot boy named Robin that ends up killing people not indiscriminately when you find out about the twist that you can see coming from about 8 million miles away. So yeah, you have Leo and Lexi. You have Leo played by Ethan Taylor and Lexi played by Leona Clark, who are engaged. And there are certain things going on in Leo's life that he has refused to reveal. We have Aiden, who is his long-lost uncle that didn't treat him all that well. And then it turns out that Robin, the robotic boy, is bound determined to do something. Kill people that don't really matter. Because, really, none of these characters matter. Nothing against the cast. I think they tried. And I'm all for people getting work. But if this cost more than like $1 million, I would be amazed. Because the robotics don't even look that impressive. Robin doesn't even really move. Probably because they couldn't afford to have him goddamn move. At least Megan had the robot girl dancing. Megan 2.0 was absolutely dog shit. And neither of those movies were any fucking good. But at least with this, you could maybe, try to sink your teeth into the comical nature of it. No, they couldn't even do that. So bone serious that it is so dry, you'd have to eat it in the fucking rain. This movie is so bad, so bland, so banal. No redeeming characters, no redeeming qualities. Any of the twists that they keep trying to pile on are super obvious from the very fucking beginning. It's on Amazon if you want to check it out. I'm going to shred this thing in the spoilers now. There you go. So, also, a lot of this movie seems to be lit by a goddamn flashlight. Light your movies, because dark lighting, or lack of lighting, and just making your movies dark, doesn't actually mean that they're atmospheric. It means you're lazy, and you probably shouldn't be allowed to have any creative freedom. So, I did like the woman who played the mother, Gareth Tidball, or Tidball. She at least tried. She was running and freaking out, and then Robin suddenly was beating the crap out of her, and then got shot. Oh my God, it's Robotic Robin. He didn't get a PS5 for his birthday. And then we go to 34 years later. So I guess it was one of those Amiga systems that was really popular in the UK. Was it the Amiga 32? I think it was. I've seen screenshots of it. But we then see an old man that it turns out is later named Aiden, who is checking on Robin's stuff. And we see a picture that really looks like an older brother and a younger boy, if we're being perfectly honest, because nobody could be bothered to even get that correct in this movie. And it was in 1990 in Amsterdam. Whatever. And that was 34 years later, by the way, or 34 years ago. The house, by the way, looked like it was in Minneapolis, but I digress. So, Aiden checks on this Robin stuff and is also doing some robotic stuff, and there's a British short-hair kitty, a beautiful British short-hair kitty, that ends up becoming a puddle. At least we assume. We actually don't see the cat die, so I will give Lawrence Fowler that much credit. He did not show the animal dying. Yeah, okay, that was something. This woman died, or this woman just was freaking out. I don't fucking know what's going on. Whatever. We then go to a beach where a proposal happens between Leo and Lexi, but we get a text from somebody. I'd hate to have to destroy such a pretty face, or mutilate a pretty face, or whatever. Then they say romance is dead. Actually, it turns out this is somebody that Leo owes money to, which you can glean from the fact that this film has a plot about as thin as a piece of rice paper. And they go to Oakwood House, where, yeah, we see Aiden, the old man from before. We see his caregiver, Freya. Michaela Longden, who is cute, I'll say that much. She isn't given much to do beyond acting scared of the robot Rob1n, and getting killed in the barn because she's fearful of it. And after she gives her exposition, then it's time to off her because we can't have any more characters padding this thing out. We have to have limited characters pad this thing out. So she doesn't know what this thing is, but she's been working there how long? Then again, she might have just been one of the recent caregivers. Who knows? Oh, and Aiden claims that he doesn't understand anything that happened before the previous 2 years because he got in a car accident and it wiped his memory clean. That's convenient. Then we don't have to bother with more exposition. So Freya basically talks about how evil the thing is, gets killed by Rob1n, who doesn't really move. We see a silhouette of Rob1n moving because, again, the movie can't afford to show that. Look, if your movie's going to be cheap, at least have the decency to not try to overstretch it. Because, good God, I thought Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare was cheap, and it was. So anyway, let's get back to this. So Leo is looking for money because he owes some debts. Lexi finds this out a little bit later. Way later than she probably should have. And what ends up happening is basically Aiden ends up taking the battery out of Rob1n. By the way, if you have not gleaned the fact that Aiden was Rob1n's father, I don't know how to tell you any differently. Because, one, I just told you, two, you should have been able to figure that out by who ended up shooting Rob1n in the beginning of that birthday party. So the police show up. I did like Detective Farmer. I liked her. Molly something or other. I didn't quite catch the full last name. I was like, all right. She gets killed really stupidly. In fact, everybody in this movie gets killed stupidly. There is a guy that shows up that apparently knows Freya that I think is in on this plot to either get money from the guy or what. I don't know, but he seems to be the weird guy that was showing up from before. There was like texting. What the fuck's his goddamn name? Leo. That's how, like, unremarkably unmemorable these characters are. I just mentioned Leo's name about a minute ago, and I fucking forgot. Maybe I got the same thing Aiden does. God, I almost wish you got. Nope, can't say that. Not finishing that. Still have more movies to review before my memory just goes totally goddamn tits up, as they say across the pond. So we go to research, and he calls a man named Peter. Peter Williams, not Petey Williams. No Canadian destroyers in this. More in the pity. And he basically says everybody but his dad and him were killed at the party. Why were they spared? Well, there you are. I mean, why was Peter spared? Maybe Peter was going to be the next one, but it's fine. Doesn't matter. Lexi's upset until she finds out about the $500,000 in the safe. And I noted that the actress playing Detective Farmer is very attractive. She also then gets very killed, stabbed, and then electrocuted. While Rob1n really just stands there. Because, again, we cannot afford to show this robot moving. You should just had to be a possessed little boy. It was like the movie The Boy, except there was no boy living in the wall. I still know Brahms the Boy 2 at least was more humorous than this. Because this was just too serious. So, it turns out, by the way, that there is nothing in the goddamn safe. Oh, and the other cop ends up getting killed. Aiden is a halfway passed out drunk old man that was drinking beer earlier in the movie. 30 minutes before, possibly 3 years before. I don't really care. I felt like I was in a blacked out stupor watching this. So, then they go to the safe. The safe has nothing in it. And it turns out, oh yes, Leo's been lying this whole time. Lexi gets killed. Leo's been lying this whole time. He was the groundskeeper, and he overheard Aiden talking about not trusting banks, money in the safe, all that. So that's why he decided to do this, because after the accident, he got fired from his job because Aiden didn't remember him working for him. I guess. And Robin is tired of lies, by the way, because his mom hurt him too, and anytime he lied, he'd be locked in the cellar. So he's got a nail gun. He's nailing, Leo every time he lies. Probably should have worded that better, but it's literal in this sense. And then Aiden finally gets himself, or no, not Aiden. Leo gets himself loose and is about to kill Robin, I guess. Even though he doesn't seem like he can die. He can barely move, but he can't die. Aiden then ends up shooting him. So that's it. And then Aiden is repairing him, and instead of blue eyes now, he has red eyes. Why do I do this to myself? Why? Why do movies like this exist? Like, seriously. I will watch stuff if it's free on a website. I will pay for stuff. I will never pirate shit. But I feel like if I'm going to waste my time watching some of this stuff, then it deserves to get just shat on. And this deserved to get shat on because it was really fucking bad. I think The Ghost Within might have been better, but that's not saying much because that was really egregiously awful. Anyway, agree, disagree what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter, Letterboxd, Blue Sky handles in the description. I'm John Rob1n. Until we see another Megan ripoff again, which is probably going to be pretty soon, happy trails to you.